Hey guys, this is the Blue Collar Feature Podcast. I'm your host, Jaden Robison, and we've got our co-host, Jessie, with us today. What's up, man?
What's up, man? Just hanging out. Got home from work. Kind of relaxing. How are you?
Good, good. We were bullshitting before we started recording and decided we probably better click record because we were talking about inspectors. Inspectors being crazy. I don't know if we want to give up the secrets of the trade or something, but you know, some inspectors you got to have special ways of dealing with them because some of them just want to feel important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. That's what I was saying. Is like the old boy should have retired like 5 years before he did, but like you knew if he was coming, he just wanted to feel important, so you leave something obvious for him to find, and he would leave you alone. But if you did it perfect, he's like, "No, I got to find something. I got to do my job."
They just want to act like they know what they're doing and they like know better than you at least a little bit.
Yeah.
And a lot of their favorite thing to do is to like point out stuff that could be technically wrong but isn't. And like normally this isn't right, but you know we'll give you a pass here and stuff like that. Well, anything to make them feel like they're special, I guess.
It's just the same with the project manager. Got to let them have their moment.
Sometimes you're like, is this project managing itself, or we actually got a project manager here? You never know. But they sure want to
Oh,
come in and like point out everything that's done wrong and not on time and stuff. When it comes
hmm
down to it.
My favorite with them is like, if you mess up, it's an email, so everybody sees it. If they mess up, it's a phone call, so no one knows.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Off the record, dude. Oh man, sorry. I forgot. Is this will be all right? Will you be able to fix this? Will you be able to deal with it?
Yeah. It's every time, bro. Cracks me up.
Yeah. We've had a lot of those scenarios. We could do a whole episode on. We were just talking about this. Craziest things that have happened on the job. Maybe we'll do a freaking inspector series. Go on forever on that type of stuff. Some of those guys are wild. Crazy.
That would be fun. It would be fun to do like crazy job stories or like things we've run into or like those. I think that'd be a fun podcast or a couple episodes. Even.
Maybe we'll think of a series name. But
Yeah.
well, today we decided to do talking about because of the post I saw that you posted recently, building a legacy in the trades. So, building a legacy of building in the trades. I saw a picture of you, your dad, and your grandpa, and I knew it was you guys because you told me that everybody in your family is getting taller, and it was literally your grandpa and your dad, and then you, and it was all a few inches apart. And I was like, that's got to be his grandpa. He's there talking on the job site. They're all standing next to each other. That's got to be him. And then so that's what I was thinking about. Like, how cool is it that probably the entirety of Cache Valley knows your guys' name, or at least everybody has seen stuff you guys have worked on.
Mhm.
I mean, how cool is that? How cool is that that's something that you're leaving behind?
Yeah, dude, it's awesome. Like that's what really got me to like I guess develop a passion for all this because when I was a teenager, it was just kind of like, oh, we're going to work, whatever, and then like started to see like gosh, every almost every block in town, someone from my family has worked on.
Mm-hmm.
And it's pretty cool. And like whether it's I can drive downtown in West Christina and be like, hey, babe, I worked on that, or like Grandpa worked on that, or Dad worked on that. It's pretty cool. So yeah, we did the um last week. Company Cam came out and did part of their Do Good Work campaign, so they're kind of showcasing good work in the trades and things like that to promote the trades to younger people, and they wanted to feature us. And, part of it, we went over to the elementary school down the road from my house because my great grandpa worked on it. My grandpa went to school there. My dad worked on it, and I worked on it. So like, there's a bunch of family history in that building. So, and then we got dad and grandpa to come over and got them all mic'd up and let them tell war stories. It was pretty cool.
I bet that's going to be some cool content.
Yeah, yeah, I'm excited. They were on our job the whole day. Like we did our grout pour and then laid some block and had some fun. And then we drove around town and looked at stuff. Basically, did the whole tour of like, hey, I built that. and went to like some of my favorite jobs, took some videos and photos. It was really cool.
Hey, just an idea. If you guys weren't so busy taking photos and videos and stuff, maybe you.
Yeah, I bet I'd get a lot more done if I put my phone down.
Wait, oh, it's cool that you guys that there's such a history there. And honestly, it's cool that you guys are in a position that you can do that. I mean, a lot of people can't even see past the day that's in front of them, let alone be able to have a a company like Company Cam come out and want to hear your story and be able to be on the job and take photos and videos all day and I mean that's a cool position to be in itself.
For sure. Yeah, it was a pretty wild experience. Like not something I really would have expected to ever happen.
Yeah, a whole film crew coming out on the job.
Yeah. Yeah, that was wild.
What are we to expect from this? Is this going to be like a YouTube video they're going to release soon, or
I think so. Yeah. So I think like there'll be some longer form content and then some shorter form as well. I know they did a video where they had Micro do the voiceover, and then like it's like me, Carly, the Sparky, Kaufman Construction, and I think those were the three that they did. But I don't know if they have more or not. But yeah, that's I think they're just basically doing like a docu series, which would be pretty cool. I'm excited to see how it turns out.
you know, you mentioned saying like there's the whole driving around and pointing out, hey, look, I worked on that, I built that. Like this, that's a whole meme that's been going around for years now. People being proud of what they do in construction. But you were like, oh hey, look, grandpa worked on that, dad built that, great grandpa. You know, that in itself is crazy to think about.
Mhm.
I mean, what does it take to like really build a legacy like that in your little town? I mean, a lot of people think about what they're going to leave behind, and a lot of people think through their family they're going to make an impact, and some people, you know, they get to the end of their life and they're regretful looking back and thinking they haven't impacted as much as they wanted to. I mean, how do you even start to go about a legacy like that? How did your great grandpa do it?
Yeah, so as I understand it, Grandpa came back from the war, and then like in the '60s, he came back and kind of got in the trade because they moved to Providence and all that stuff. But yeah, he got in the trade working for some guys, and then gosh, I'm trying to think of who it was that he worked for. But yeah, great grandpa did that, and then raises his family, and everybody in the family's kind of touched the trade or like been a part of it. Grandpa Chad went out. My great grandpa Demler passed away in his he's from he had a heart attack, and then so grandpa goes out and then he builds his own business, doing residential and a little bit of commercial, like small stuff. And then dad, at one point in his life, they're doing the whole thing, and grandpa's still running his stuff. So dad's like, "Well, I'm gonna go do the commercial thing," even though they didn't everybody back then and like the local boys were like, no one wants to do that, let the solid guys do it. They'll all come up here and deal with all the problems with that come with commercial. And dad was like, no, I can do it. So dad goes out on his own, and now he's been in business for 28 years or 29 years, 28, and raised me up in it. And yeah, it's pretty cool. It's like I said, that's when I was a teenager, it was kind of, oh, this is just work, like I'm just going to work with whatever. And then as I got older, it like really started to stick with me of like how cool it was. And like you said, the impact you can have, like, the Demler name up here is everyone knows, the quality of work that we do and kind of like who the family is. And if you need someone to be a Mason, like that's who you call, or if you need someone to get you out of an MIP, you call Shannon, because he's the attorney. But it's just it's pretty cool that like that's the legacy is like there's been enough men in my family or ancestry that have done quality work for 75 plus years that like if someone needs a mason, it's they're tagging me or my dad or like saying, hey, call the Demlers or stuff like that. It's pretty cool.
People you
It's
probably have no idea who they are, and they're like, oh yeah, call out the Demlers.
Yep. Yeah, or like the cool ones are like someone will call me and be like, hey, your grandpa or your great grandpa built my house or my chimney, and he goes, I only want a Demler to work on it, so just figure out when you can fit me in. Like those ones are cool.
How many
So
of
it's
those have you had?
I've probably done like 5 to 10 little things like that. My friend Josh bought my great grandpa Demler's house in Providence,
Oh, that's cool.
and they remodeled it. and so they needed someone to fill in the windows because like they moved the master bedroom windows around the house. And he called and he's like, "Hey, dude, I don't." He goes, "This is your great grandpa's house. Like, one of you has to come do this. I can't just have anyone show up, you know?" And so that was a pretty cool experience. Or like chimneys, that just need repointed, or like things just over time they kind of wear out. But
Hmm.
yeah, that type of stuff is cool. Or like, I guess, and then that goes down the line, right? Of like, well, your grandpa or your dad built my parents' house, my grandparents' house, so I want to. It's cool. It's pretty wild that their reputation alone can get you in the door, and then like I would hope that my reputation precedes me as well. But
Yeah.
it's a pretty wild experience.
Yeah. How many members of the family have done it? Has it just been your dad and your grandpa and great grandpa? And I mean like as a career.
As a career, yeah, like those are the core guys that have done it.
And then I'm assuming just siblings and stuff like your dad's siblings maybe and your grandpa's siblings and stuff.
Exactly. Yeah. Everybody's done it, right? Like
Yeah.
all the brothers did it. Like everybody's jumped in. Cousins have done it. Like they've all done it. But as far as like contractors specific, that's those, us four.
How much different do you think it would be if any of them stayed in? And I mean, that's hard to think about because then you start looking at it and it's do you compete against family members or are you guys doing business together or what's going on?
Yeah. I'm sure there. Yeah. Is it like how working with family is. There's been people that have come to work for dad, and like things happen, and like it's you drift apart. Like it's no different than like I've had friends come to work and I don't talk to those friends anymore. Like it's like it's just stuff happens at work. But yeah, I don't know. I would hope that because everybody I know, except for like one or two of the family members, everybody I know, like it's all friendly and like everybody's
Hmm.
good. So I would hope that like it was kind of a like the more the merrier. Like we all get to eat, we all take care of each other. Yeah, I don't know. It'd be interesting too, like if it had gone, like if Grandpa Demler had had a bigger vision, like if they, because it seems like each person down the line has a bigger and bigger vision of what it could be,
Hmm.
and so it's like if all those efforts had been combined, like where it would be, or like if certain things had happened or hadn't happened. Like I know, 2008, 2009 was pretty rough for my dad.
Hmm.
But like if that hadn't happened, like at that time, dad was in the top 500. Yeah, I think he was like the 32nd fastest growing business in Utah.
Hmm.
Then the financial crisis happened and he had to scale things back. But like at the time, he had like 50 employees and three forklifts, a freaking crane, and all sorts of stuff. And so it's like if that hadn't happened, I wonder what it would be, or what it is. But all the lessons learned, and they get passed down. So it's
Hmm.
the things great grandpa knew and he passed down to grandpa, and the things grandpa knew or learned not to do, he passed to dad, and dad does the same and to me. And I'm trying to do that with like the guys that at work, and the young guys that come in or things like that with my knowledge and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool. Like think about like what one man's and my great grandpa, like what his effect on this community or the valley up here has been, or even the
Yeah.
state, because we've been all over.
Yeah. Like like how you mentioned each person has a different or a bigger vision for what could be because I think over time that's probably reflective of the world, the situation in the world that was going on throughout those times because a lot of people that were 50, 60 years ago are coming out of Great Depression, really scarcity mindset type people, and that
Mhm.
is just the norm. Most people just wouldn't expect to be able to build something like your dad did. I mean, it
Yeah.
takes a lot to break through that because that becomes like a generational mold
Mhm.
that's passed down through children. So the fact that each person was able to be like, you know what? No, I think I can turn this into something better than what we've had or bigger than what we've had and
Mhm.
been able to is super cool. Where do you see it from here? What is
For
yours?
me, yeah, for me, like I want to continue what my dad's done and keep, the upward path there. Keep doing my best to grow young and I guess old men in between, those guys that come into the company and help them build their future and give them the skills they need to, take care of themselves. I'd like to, see that the masonry company sustains or builds and keeps going. I'd like to eventually open up a wing of like the Fracco rentals and stuff because of my relationship with them. Have a whole like I think a hydraulic scaffold wing would be really cool as far as rentals and things like that because there's no one really doing that over here.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be another revenue. The social media stuff alone and like sharing my knowledge and humor, if you will,
Mm-hmm.
online and seeing where that can go and like yeah, it's just hopefully it's kind of growing things and expanding and seeing like I said, we brought the Fracco in a year and a half ago as a new piece of equipment and upgraded our scaffold and we're seeing how it goes. And so it'd be cool to like get a fleet of that and do some more like really cool projects and grow and see what we can do. Like Dad wants to do one of the Mormon temples and get to where we can do one of those. IMS does a lot of them, and it's a lot of specialty work, but that'd be cool. Stuff like that, like get into those kind of projects or like things that you can really like some legacy pieces would be cool. But yeah, and then continue to be a pillar in this community up here and helping, build the vision of what it can be up here would be cool.
Yeah. Yeah. How do you see that moving forward? Since you mentioned you don't want to have kids, right?
Right.
How do you envision that going forward? Just curiosity there.
Yeah, I think that's why I try to pour into the guys at work so much, or like the young guys at work, because like I can help them, and I can give my knowledge to them and give them the opportunities and things like that. And who knows, maybe one of them steps up, and it's like as time goes on, it's you turn into that, or we see about the possibilities of turning it into like an employee-owned business. I was just listening to I can't remember who it was on Dirt Talk on Aaron Witt's podcast about all of their employees. Every so often they get more shares of the company and so on and so forth. Like that'd be
Yeah.
cool. Then it stays alive.
Yeah.
Like those are the kind of the avenues I see it going. Put as much of my information and trust and help build these guys up as I can, and hopefully they create enough with their life, or maybe one of them steps up and wants to take over this and keep it going, and it turns into maybe we rename it down the road and it's something that keeps going, or we open up other avenues of business like the fleets and things like that, and just do my best to kind of create the ripple effect around me.
Yeah. Well, so I was on the Construction Mentor podcast last week. If you guys don't know about that, go check it out. It's pretty cool with Ryan Ike. And sorry, I know his name for some reason. I can't. For some reason, I think of people's Instagram handles all the time. Okay.
So do I.
This is a problem. This is a real problem.
I'm the same. I'm the same way, bro. But if someone calls me Slim Brick to my face, I'm like, hey, don't.
Yeah,
That's what you.
please, please, please call me by name. Call me Slim. Yeah. Anyways, you guys go check out Construction Mentor podcast. But we discussed a lot about family businesses and about nepotism in family businesses. So he was asking me how kind of that's worked out for me because in my situation, I can't even really see any nepotism just being handed stuff. And my points were any good business owner is not just going to hand over business to their kids that don't know what they're doing. And I think if you have your kids in the business, there's more pressure on them to do more and be better. And so from my perspective, I always had it like much more pressure and a much more responsibility on me coming up in learning and stuff. Like if there was problems, like it almost seems like it was heightened towards me, I guess, and my siblings, just because there's reputation to uphold, and if we're gonna be here, we're gonna do our part, and we're gonna pull our weight and learn and figure this thing out. He mentioned a point that I didn't really think about before, and he said that a lot of times in family businesses The form of nepotism you see more commonly is that there is like a dedicated mentorship almost to the kids, which I totally agree with. Like, yeah, I have a more direct route to the boss, and I've been through it my whole life and eat, breathe, live this stuff. So it's much easier to have a strict mentor. But if you look at businesses that don't have kids going forward, maybe that a lot of times that's a lot better, and it probably is going to be more appealing to people, especially in your guys' case where you are actually like 100% trying to mentor kids that are coming up in the company. 100%, like, and even where your ideas of turning into an employee owned type thing, like there's a lot of people that like that nowadays. But that was something that opened my eyes a little bit, because it's always kind of something you think about.
Hmm.
But just like, especially in construction, that is the main key that you have over someone who's not family, is you actually have a more direct mentor, which that just means someone who wants to start out in a field that doesn't have family in it. You just got to go find a mentor, you know?
Hmm.
But anyways, that was something interesting I thought of, just, or was like talked about and have been thinking about recently,
Hmm.
that kind of opened my eyes a bit.
Yeah, I've never really, I guess, had it had the thought that way or verbalized that
Yeah.
way, but
Yeah.
it's not wrong. You know, you get the comments of like, "Oh, you work with your dad or whatever," and I'm like, "That's doesn't mean anything." Like he rides my
No. Yeah,
he's rode my ass my whole life, you know.
exactly.
But to a point of like the form of nepotism that makes sense is that like yes, I was taught, hey, you need to go out and work twice as hard as everybody else and be twice as good as everybody else, and like from sweeping the floor to being the foreman, like I've he goes they're not going to give you respect. You have to go get it, and like you're just the boss's kid. So like and so he was adamant about me knowing how to do everything and doing every trade and not just getting put as the mason right out the gate and all those sort of things. But to that point of like I had a path of like, hey, if I'm good at this, then I get the next step, and if I'm good at that, I get there. And then once I got to the point where I needed to learn masonry, it was like, hey, those guys were like, okay, we have to teach you. Like you're not going anywhere. We're stuck with you. We have to teach you.
Mm.
And because yeah, like my dad like taught me to a point, but the guys on the side are who really taught me how to do what I can do. And now dad's like refining, the business side of things. But yeah, that's an interesting way of putting the nepotism kind of debate or topic in play, because it's not wrong of like, yeah, I'm sure there's so many of them that come in and have no real direction because they don't know what to do, or like there's not a dedicated path to everybody to get from A to B to C to D.
Mm.
That's an interesting. I like hearing that and learning, and because it definitely puts a new thought in your brain. It's true.
Yeah, I think if we're talking about family business and building a legacy and stuff, I mean, that is most people's issue with working in a business that's owned by family, but it's also can be a good thing if you can come around to realize that fact. And also if it's very visible that the family doesn't actually just get things just because. And while they may not be handed to them, it is definitely like groomed, I guess. And I
Mhm.
never thought of it that way. Like, you're groomed to be the best, but that doesn't mean all of a sudden that puts all your work down the drain just because you were in the family, because other people that are in businesses that they aren't family of still have that path available. I've seen it happen plenty of times where people have moved up in companies, done the same thing. It's just a matter of you need to have that example and be willing, and show up, and like, and we're kind of getting off topic, but you like to be able to put yourself out there and in that position to be like, look, I'm here. I want to do, I want to get to this point. What do I need to do? And most of the time, people in a company will help you move up
Mhm.
that way, even if you're not the boss's kid.
Yeah, and that's I guess, like I said, I don't. think about having my own children. It's not where I'm going. So it's like for me, it's I want to do right by the guys that are coming up under me.
Hmm.
And so I have a lot of them, or like a lot of people are like, hey, the opportunities that you give people don't exist outside of this. Like, and that makes, it makes you feel like it's worth it because I want them to be able to, I don't need them to be the laborer for 5 years waiting for an opportunity. It's like, no, if you show up and work your ass off, I want you to move forward. Like, it does me no good to have someone who's passionate about my family's business and the trade that we do, that's wanting to help me, holding him back. And so I think it's yeah. Um, if you like you said, it kind of showing up and putting the effort in, and I want to go this direction, and it's really cool that I have young guys like that, and I can give them the opportunities. Because that's while like I'm not going to pass it to one of my kids. It's cool, like in the sense of legacy of I can influence those guys to go out and whether it's with me still or doing their own thing or being able to make money on their own and those sort of things, just creating a better life for themselves through the skills that I can help them learn and provide. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in some way, that allows you, I feel like, to have a almost a bigger impact. And anybody in this position can take the initiative and put this amount of energy and effort into their guys, but not everybody does. So it's not as common. But you're kind of in a position right now, being forward thinking and stuff, that you can potentially leave even a bigger legacy behind because you're putting so much work into these guys,
Yeah, and that's
so much energy and effort into them. So,
yeah, and hopefully I need to get my ass in gear, but like that would be the goal with the social media stuff too. Like as fun as it is to like make the humorous things and whatnot, it would be really cool to create something that's digital that's going to live long past me or whatever it may be that I can give my knowledge to where it needs to go to help even more people. And I guess like maybe that's long term vision of a legacy is like how can I impact the trade as a whole to help grow those that are coming into it that are interested in it. And, I have my whole life of hearing that masonry is a dying trade, but like what can I do to help prevent that, or there's not a lot of masons around, and so it's we're kind of few and far between. So how can I help revive that, or just get the right information in front of the right people, and whether that's videos or digital content or something that's going to outlive me there. Or, maybe one day I'll have the time where I can go to the trade school and like help that out or create something like the blue collar career day we talked about, or those sort of things, and just yeah, maybe leave a lasting impact on the industry as a whole and like helping grow it. And that's really why the company camp thing made me so excited for the do good work campaign. Is that's what Luke's trying to do, is like he's got the money and the connections. He's trying to do his part to help grow our industry because we need it. And so it's cool to like position myself next to people like that, and hopefully I can do things just as big as he is or bigger. Or I guess that's where, as much as I want to continue the masonry company, like if we're thinking like really big impact, like really macro sort of goals for myself, that's where I'm trying to go.
mhm. I mean, that's a good way to leave a very lasting impact. I mean, all of the stuff you've been doing on social media, it all plays into it. I mean, even this podcast, sometimes I think about it's so crazy that you can just click record and then click post on something that's just going to be out there forever, potentially.
Yeah, yeah, it's evergreen.
Yeah, and it's not even been around that long. And who knows what'll happen. I mean, the fact that we're recording this right now and talking about these things, it's going to be out there for however long,
Mhm.
forever. And, 40 years from now, I could look back on this and be like, wow, what in the crap was I thinking? Like, how did I ever come up with that? And I'm surprised I kept going, but I'm glad I did, to hopefully leave an impact. I mean, that's the whole reason anybody does anything, really. Like, except for the people that are all just money hungry, just trying to make a quick buck. But that's beside the point.
Well, and that's, I assume, I know you let me talk a lot and I like to yap, but like this is the whole concept between or behind like your podcast is named Blue Collar Future. Like I assume that's what you're trying to do here, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, when I came up with the idea, I don't know how many times I've explained this because I maybe one I don't know, maybe a couple times. I really don't remember. But I had been trying to figure out a way to tie in everything I was doing. So because I was very technology based, I was like trying to tie that into the fact that I'm been doing concrete for so long. And then I started thinking about technology and then, the future. I was like, blue collar future. Like, what is it going to look like? How is this going to go? A lot of it was actually based on like thinking, man, AI is never going to replace trade work. Like, but also, how do we start getting people excited for a future in the trades or like preparing for this future of like people like to say manual labor as a negative connotation, but like being able to work with your hands and having a skill set in a time when almost nobody does. That's kind of what I was aiming at, and it's really become more and more I think about it, the more it's like that we are preparing people for the future, or at least trying to, and trying to set up their future in a trade.
Mm.
Yeah, exactly. That's the whole point. That's the whole thing about the podcast.
Yeah. And yeah, like I think you do a really good job of that. And like the whole, when we came together because of the Take Care of Your Shit series of like, you do a really good job of like, hey, here's not only how to do the work, but here's how to take care of yourself and your body and those things to like, so that you can do this and not be the old decrepit dude, and like that knowledge is really important.
Yeah. Well, and we will see how it fares for me. But so far, I don't feel like a broken down 27-year-old like a lot of people do. Like I scroll through TikTok and see people posting and they're like 27 years old, been doing this for 10 years already, tired and broken down, sick of this crap. And I'm like, I don't relate at all. And we have plenty of hard days. So I just feel like there is a point where taking care of yourself, even these basics, like people just don't really think about. And especially after years and years of doing the work, you get into bad habits and you kind of just like forget basic stuff. So
Uh-huh.
I think it's a good thing to remind about, like, yeah, you need to drink enough water. You probably need to do some stretches and warm-ups before you go basically do a CrossFit day, a whole day of CrossFit out in 100 degrees. You probably should
Yeah.
loosen up a little. Stuff like that. Like, it's what is our future? What is your future going to look like? What is the future of these trades going to look like? That's always what I'm curious about and try to bring back. I'm not sure I've done a good job of being on theme with that all the time, but that's where my mind is a lot of the time. So, yeah.
As far as your path with like because you're in a family business as well, and you are a family man and have a kid already and all those sort of things, like where do you see yourself going and where's your legacy?
That is a good question because everybody's always asking me like, are you going to take over the business? Are you going to start your own business? Like, what's going to happen? And for me, and I actually think I talked about this on Ryan's podcast. I don't particularly know, but as of right now, I mean, I'm going along with it. And if there was an opportunity to come, I'm not sure that I would. There'd have to be a big opportunity to get me away from what I'm doing right now, if that makes sense. Like something like crazy big, working for some massive company making multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars. Like it'd have to be some crazy thing to pull me away from what I'm doing right now. Because I'm not going to go start my own business. I don't care that much. I'd rather help grow the business we're in and
Mhm.
take it to, as big as we can take it. Because I think I've got some siblings that might end up being in the business as well. And being able to have this business be able to support so many people it's another thing in and of itself. So that's kind of I'm just going along with it and seeing kind of what comes. It's because like I've said before, it never really was something that I intended on doing forever. So I've just been taking it day by day for the last few years and seeing how it goes. Really, I think I'm kind of new into my passion for doing this. I would say my passion for doing this is really only a couple years old.
Mhm.
Even though I've been doing it for 10, really. It's really only a few years old and just kind of seeing where it goes from here.
That's do you feel like there's because I like my sibling is my sister and she's in insurance, so like that's not like this is I guess the path has always been like the masonry company goes through me.
Hmm.
With you having siblings that are interested to say a word in the business, do you feel like that's a cohesive environment, or do you think it would be like there's going to be? I mean, I'm sure there'll be challenges, but how do you think that's going to go for you?
Yeah, it will be. I mean, all of the siblings are going to kind of have a chance to be in the business and get the business, like be owners, I guess we'll say. And it's going to be kind of a challenge, I think. And this is where I would say a nepotism aspect probably comes into play, just because after a certain amount of time, we'll basically just becoming owners in the
Hmm.
company, which a lot of times doesn't just happen. But also, I've had to put in the time. And like I said, I've been doing this for 10 years easy, having not been making six figures the whole time. It's not like I'm just getting handed a bunch of money.
Yeah.
So putting in the work. And I think for the siblings, the hard part is going to be, it working together and stuff, but like them also having to put in the time too and realizing that they need to be as good as possible. I think that's always a pressure on people in the family to
Mm.
be as
Yeah.
good as we can be.
How much younger than you is Coop?
He is 5.5 years. So I really don't know what that would make him right now. 21. So
21 and
he's
a half.
almost
Yeah.
20. Yeah, he's almost 22. Yeah. And the youngest is 16 as of first of the year. So yeah, interesting. And I have a sister too.
Yeah.
She's a nurse though. She's not gonna be in concrete.
Oh, that's cool though. That's
And
quite cool.
honestly, like I really want to be able to have the business like grow to a point where we can have like real awesome opportunity for people to work for us too. Like we
Mhm.
take care of our guys and stuff, but I want it to not be where people come here and work and they see, look, boss's kids, they are going to have all the opportunity. No, I want it to be to the point where everybody can have an equal amount of opportunity really to do anything they want here. And that is a whole other part of the puzzle.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
growing to the
I agree.
point where we can have multiple foremen and crew leaders and stuff. I mean, that's some big jumps.
Yeah, I agree with that one. Like that's the ultimate path, right? Like it's kind of like I don't know, you see like Apple's an extreme example or Nvidia, like so many employees are millionaires now, and so it's
Mhm.
like he created something where everyone gets to buy the houses or like he listened to Andy Frisella and he's like, cool, like my core employees all have like all this stuff or like, he's not the only one sort of
Yeah,
stuff. And I think that'd be really cool too, because you don't get a lot of that in construction of what like where someone can give their life to a company. Like you should be able to take care of them, and like they should be able to get the same thing that maybe the boss's family gets. Like that'd be really cool. That's definitely the dream of like to be able to get to a point of like you're not just making an hourly wage, but like you're helping people be able to achieve everything that they've wanted out of life as well.
yeah. Kind kind of on a side note, I've seen some memes before of people be like, gave 40 years to this company and all they gave me is a watch. Stuff like that. Like that's not how you want to end up being.
No, no, at
But
all. Yeah.
like yeah, you want to be able to take care of your guys, and I think any good, like I said, like any good business owner is going to want to be able to show their people that they have something to aspire to be where they are. Otherwise, how would you get people to stick around?
Hmm.
Other than people that are just going to show up for a paycheck. And I think I've seen recently that the statistics on people in their place of work is like people only work in one place for 6 years on average and move.
Hmm.
And I'm not sure it's a good or bad thing to stay with one company forever or to leave and jump around, because I do think there is a point where you stay with one place if they're not fulfilling their end of the bargain and allowing you to move up and make more money. There's always going to be another opportunity elsewhere. So
Hmm.
as an employee, that's a bargaining chip, really. Position yourself better. It's like, look, these people over here are going to pay me more. If you want to pay me more, I'll stay here. If not, I'm leaving. And a lot of times, your current place of employment's going to be like, no, no, we can match that, or oh, no, we can do a little bit better for you.
Mm.
Just like, but it takes some effort on your part too, not just showing up to get a check and then leaving. So that's the
Yeah.
hard part. Like you got to be invested in, and I think, or you gotta invest in yourself and in the company, I guess, and you'll most of the time get rewarded that way. And if
Mm.
not, you can go find somewhere else, you know. But you always want to be the company that's going to take care of the guys so much that they don't want to leave, too.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's important as we go into the future, like to do right by the people that create it. Because like, no matter how much work or how fast or like whatever you and I can be, there's nothing of this upward trajectory without the people around us. So,
Yeah, well, and emotions are always high in construction. You know, it's not worth getting mad over things, and that happens a lot too often. It happens with me, and it's not a good thing. It's not worth getting mad at though, because you can't do it on your own, right?
yeah.
And we've had guys that have worked for us that can't control their temper either, and it's like, you know what? That's not really a good company culture to have either.
Hmm.
But I think construction in particular is really good and really bad at taking care of their guys. Because I think there's a lot of really bad people out there just taking advantage of their guys, and I think there's a lot of companies that take really good care of their people because they know that that's how they get stuff done.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
you just gotta find the companies. I think there's a big disparity in the amount of people, like good people to work for and like absolute crap people to work for.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah, there's definitely tons of people that are on the other end of things. I don't know. Yeah, maybe it's just continue to be the example to of you don't need to work for that, and hopefully we can provide a future for everyone that believes in the mission as much as we do.
Yeah. Well, it's every person every day striving to be better. I think that's what everybody wants to build a legacy. So
Mm.
what is your legacy going to be? Are you going to be the person that's just constantly pissed off and can't keep people working and all of that? Or are you going to build something do you want to build something or be part of something bigger than that?
Hmm.
I did have one last thing. We had mentioned before, so my dad worked for his uncles, and
Hmm.
from them, there's 4 or 5 different flatwork companies in the area that all came from them. And that's a legacy in itself. And I've gone to bid jobs that my dad's uncles have worked on, seen jobs that my dad's worked on, all that type of stuff. It's pretty cool that way. And then people, that's an in, like you said. It's an in that people are like, oh yeah, your family did this and they did a great job and it's still holding up. And I've gotten work that way based off of my uncle's reputation.
Hmm.
Do you guys have that where you are? How many people have sprouted off from whether it's your uncle or your dad or whoever to start their own thing and are still in business and stuff?
Yeah, dude, I would argue that every local contractor, like, there's only one other like really commercial contractor up here in the valley, but almost every like real like just masonry contractor, I bet has worked for my dad at some point. Like, it's I would be hard pressed to believe, or I'd be hard pressed to find someone up here that is doing work for themselves or has a small crew of like a residential crew that did not work for my dad at some point.
Really?
Yeah, it's
That's
pretty
super
wild.
cool.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's crazy. Like everybody's like, "Oh yeah, I worked for your dad back in this time," or like, "I did this," and like, yeah, it's interesting to see how much he has really affected that. Like there's
Have,
people
ha-
that come from out of town, or like they don't specialize in masonry that are different. But if it's someone who's special that's just a masonry company, I guarantee they've worked for my dad.
and how many of them have reached out to you on through your social media and stuff and been like, "Hey, yeah, I used to work for your guys' company and yeah, I still do it and I'm doing it here and all that stuff." I mean, it's just cool.
Yeah, yeah, I've been plenty of times, dude. Or like, I'll go to the supply yard and someone will talk to me, whether it's an old dude or some other guy that's Like, oh, I worked for your dad back in this, and like this is whatever. Gosh, dude, the one I had, this is different, but like I had always heard stories of him. It was my dad's roommate when he lived in Reno when he was working. And because like that's like the old like that's the war stories, right? Like that was
Yeah.
dad's heyday of like he was a young man and they all went out to Reno because no one was building anything in Utah. And like it was one of his roommates and he hit me up one time. He's like, "Hey, I saw your video." I was like, "You don't happen to be Shane Demler's kid, do you?" And I was like, "I do." He goes, "Well, tell him Pigley says hi." And so I call my dad. I was like, "Hey, Pigley, like the dude that like the stories, right?" And he goes, "Yeah." I was like, "Is his name this?" And dad's like, "Yeah." I was like, "He just found me on Instagram." Or like
That's cool.
yeah, or like old foremans or old superintendents that knew dad back in the day. Like there was some old he was like an ex-military, like old Marine vet or something like that, and dad they'd call him brass balls because he was just a hard ass. I remember he hit me up one time and I was like, "Dad, do you know this guy?" And he's like, "Oh, that's brass balls, Jess." I was like, "You're telling me these people are real, like it's cool." So like that's a pretty cool thing from social media anyway, of like these people like putting that sort of, I guess, more cementing my dad's legacy. Of like,
Yeah.
oh, that's real, or like these people still like he still made an impact on these people and they're still, around this much later to talk about him and, say that he was a good dude and he did good work and still does good work and all that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. That type of stuff's cool. I've gotten stopped around here by people and they're like, "Hey, you're Craig's boy, aren't you?" And I'm like, "Yeah, how could you tell?" People can tell because I look a lot like him,
Yeah, same.
but they and that's what I was wondering about you, if they could tell because you look like him. But then people will be like, "Yeah, I remember when you were born, your dad was working on such and such job, and yeah, it was crazy." And like one person had like referred to me by my name, and I've never even met him once, and he's like, "I remember when you were born," and
Yeah.
he's like a superintendent or something, project manager for one of the commercial companies around here back when he was still working for his uncles doing commercial flat work. But yeah, it's fun. It's crazy world, like being a part of something where your name means something. Like we've
Mhm.
said, it means something to be, the Demler family, to be in the Demler Masonry company
Mhm.
and all of that. I mean, all of that and what it tails and yeah, you have a reputation to uphold too.
For sure.
So it's
And that's
cool.
I hope yeah, I hope when people see like because the Shane Dillon Masonry shirts are pretty unique. So it's like if you see it, you know it. And like I hope that those people like that is a good thing when someone's like, "Oh, do you work for these guys?" And like most of the time when the boys come back to work, they're like, "This person says hi," and like all that sort of like that's pretty cool. But yeah, like dude, I was gonna say, have you ever been to LW's, the truck stop up here? It's on 10th West.
Yes, I have.
It's like the blue collar gas station in town, right? Like
Yeah.
that's the truck stop, right? Bro, I can't go in there without someone knowing dad or grandpa. Like I cannot go in that room like and just get my drink and my like thing from the hot case without someone talking to me about something that has to do with masonry. And
Jeez.
like it's pretty cool, but it's funny sometimes. Like Christina makes fun of me all the time. She's like, "We can't go anywhere,"
Yeah,
but
that's
it's
what
good.
happens
It's
when
a
you
it's
when
a
you
good thing.
guys are superstars.
Yeah,
Superstar.
yeah, yeah. As long as it's yeah, it's either that or like I said, Shannon's an attorney, so people are like, "Oh, are you related to Shannon?" I'm like, "Well, that depends. Like, was he on your side or But no, like even him, dude. Like Shannon's like family legacy. Shannon is incredible at what he does, and like even him, it's people are like stoked when they're like, "Oh, you're cousins with that dude." Like, so even someone that's not in the masonry trade, like, still the Demler name holds some weight around town because of guys like that, or like, and he's not even in the trade.
Hmm.
So it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Cool. Awesome, guys. Leave a legacy behind. I think that is everybody's goal.
Hmm.
And it's really cool to see stuff like that happen. We will be back next week with a Q&A, and we will be collecting questions on Instagram. In the channel, you can drop them there. If you have an idea for a topic episode, always message one of us. Just kind of coming up with these things off the cuff mostly, or off of like current events in our lives. But yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Got anything
I
else
would.
to add,
I would.
Jesse?
Yeah, I was just. I'd appreciate the help, or else I'm going to use Chat GPT to make all of you guys mad.
Start using the basic topics that you can tell were AI generated.
Yeah.
Start following a script too. Hey, we probably could make an AI bot that'll come up with topics for us and based on previous episodes, and then create a script too.
Yeah. We'll
Hey,
just
I
I'll
think
have over here.
yeah, I think this app does a teleprompter, dude. We can get it worked. We can get it figured
Perfect.
out. All right, guys. Thanks for listening. Subscribe, share. We appreciate it. Anything to help the podcast grow, and we hope to keep doing this thing. It's fun. So appreciate the support and appreciate you, Jesse. And
Same to you, bro. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks. I always appreciate you having me. This was a good one. This was I like this. It's kind of the sentimental feel. It was good. I like that.
yeah, awesome. We'll see you guys on the next one.
See y'all.